Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 5 of the Hybridicious adventure. So we start this episode off by going to the trade pile and just removing all the players that did in fact sell. I believe that every player I put up overnight did sell for the price which I put them up for, which is awesome. As you guys can see, we make a profit on a few players we end up selling for a bit higher, and of course if you do incorporate that EA tax, we actually break even. So I'm fine with breaking even. I prefer to make a profit, but right now, it's really late into Ultimate Team, and people aren't that big into spending lots of coins, more players. But anyways, I decided to make a silver hybrid for the tournament. I used the 3-5-2 formation, and as you guys can see, Neto in net, very solid keeper, definitely my favorite silver goalie in this game. Then we have Canoe, a very solid center back. Now I wanted to use a pacier back line. You're only playing with 3 center backs, and of course they are a liability because you do not have any fullbacks. So any formation with any wingers is really difficult to deal with. Almabak, another very pacey and good defender, but he does have a high attacking work rate. So you guys will need a custom formation, or else he will be always on offense. And then we have, I believe, Yu Young, a very good player. I mean, this guy is so rapid, perfect for a 3-back formation. He is a bit smaller at only 6 foot, but definitely, he is capable of playing that outside center back formation position in the 3-5-2 formation. Then we have Addy. Addy is a very agile central defensive mid and a great passer, as you guys will see in the episode. And Blondell was kind of a throw up. I had an option with the other, I believe it was the Olajid Bob, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Blondell, better on defense I found, and he's also got a killer left foot, so I definitely want to use that. And then we have Torrier. Torrier is actually an upgraded silver card in the Serie A. He does not get any love whatsoever. I'm not surprised. He is Romanian. Not too many good Romanian players in the game, so not too many teams to really use him in. Then we have Luis. Luis is another great player. Unfortunately, only 3-star skill moves. But he does have 5-star weak foot, so he does make up for that. And of course 85 pace with like 70 strength, so that strength allows him to actually push players off on defense. So if I do need him to go back on defense, he can do that. Then we have Barreto. Once again, I could have used Coutinho, but then Torrier wouldn't have 9 chemistry. And overall, Barreto is a really cheap option, definitely really good. I mean, really agile, 4-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, and just overall great player. Then we have Babacar. Babacar was actually transferred to the Liga BBVA, but as you guys can see, 6'3", and this guy has some crazy pace, 87 sprint speed in game. I bought him with a pace card. Now I could have gone to a game and gotten rid of the pace card, but then I would lose a contract, and I didn't really want to do that, so I just decided to keep the pace card on him. And then we have Morimoto. Morimoto is a very good player. 89 acceleration, so he's not the fastest of sprinters, but he gets to his top speed very quickly, which is very useful. And of course, 4-star weak foot, so decent finisher on his left foot. So of course, we're going into the tournament. We put on a morale card because that is what I always do with every team. I would recommend that you guys also use morale cards for every new team that you build, if you guys do not already do that. And first game, we come up against this bronze team. I have no idea what this guy was doing. You're starting off with a starter team. Of course, he leaves, and you really can't blame him. I mean, he has a starter team. He's coming up against my 3-5-2, basically really sweaty back team, and he definitely should have left because that would have been a bad game for him. So we get into another game, and I kind of felt this guy would have a similar team, and he does. Now he does have a 4-3-2-1 formation, which is basically the best way to counter a 3-5-2, but he doesn't really have any good players. I mean, he has a few random silvers, non-rares, nothing really notable. And then in the 8th minute, we start off the scoring, passing the ball to Barreto. Barreto, not the fastest of players, but his defense was really slow, and he's able to slot that into the back of the net. Very good finisher, Barreto is. I found his finishing is a lot better than, I believe it's Coutinho. Coutinho is a horrible shooter. And then we got a little bit of luck here. Morimoto screws up, loses the ball, but he gets it back and finishes it on his left foot, as I said. Very good finisher on his left foot. Then Babacar, basically another left foot finish. Very solid finish from him right there. Very fun player to use. And right there, as you guys can see, what a nice long throw. Unfortunately, it goes straight to Young, and what a long shot. Look at that for a beauty. Kim Yu-young, let's see the replay, basically gets the ball, flicks it over the defender, passes it back to himself, and then the half volley from like 30 yards. That is insane. I was really happy when I scored that, and as I mentioned, Addy, great passer. Look at that for a through ball, getting by 4 defenders right to Babacar, and Babacar will not be missing that. His finesse shot is really good. And of course, another really lucky goal. Very unfortunate for the ball to land to Babacar, but he does finish, and that is how that game ends. So overall, it was a pretty easy game. I did have lots of chances, which I did miss, but overall 6-0. As you guys can see, 14 shots to his 0, not too shabby. Then we go into our next game. And at this point, I had a feeling, we'd come up against some better oppositions. The deeper you go into a tournament, the better teams you do play. And overall, the 3-5-2, guys, I'm not too fond of it. I know it's a very good formation for some players, but it doesn't really fit my playstyle. I prefer using wide players. Of course, on defense, I'm not really the greatest of defenders, so I really can't get away with a 3-back formation. But this guy has a very interesting team. His goalie played amazing. I have no idea who he is. But I was kind of scared at first because I didn't know who the strikers were. I'm not familiar with the English bronzes. So I thought they'd be the players, I believe Slew has 91 pace. I did not know who that was, but it ends up, his strikers were pretty bad. We got a penalty right here. Babacar showing off some nice finesse, getting fouled right there. And Morimoto slots that in. Very good penalty taker. I believe he scored every penalty which he took, and that is something that you're looking for in a player. And then right here, Morimoto, a nice pass to Torrier. Torrier showing off some pace. And at this point, I believe his goalie made like 5 to 6 heading saves, which was really annoying. But Babacar finally gets through and scores a nice goal right here. And this was his first shot on target, guys, and unfortunately it does go in. I had a feeling he was going to score the second he crossed that ball in. I knew it was going to go in. And I believe that was his only shot on target in the entire game. And of course, it does end up going in. But right here, we have some nice passing play. Ball to Babacar with a nice roulette and slots it right through the defender's legs and past the goalie, for a pretty solid finish. And this goal was quite nice right here. We have some nice build-up play. Morimoto passing to Torrier. Torrier is a pretty fast player, so he could get down the side. We have some step overs from Morimoto, and then just a nice pass back to Barreto, finishing it off on his weaker foot. So like I said, guys, the team played pretty well in terms of the offense. The defense was a bit questionable, especially with me being more of an average defender. I do tend to allow those kind of through balls. But as you guys can see, 4-1, he basically thinks, I've had enough, I want to quit. And he does, in fact, back out. So we win our game. It was pretty comfortable, with the exception that his goalie went ham and made way too many saves. I believe I think I already said it, first 5 to 6 headers I had in that game, his goalie saved it, which was really annoying. But we go into the semifinal. Of course, the semifinal, you will come up against some good oppositions. I already had a feeling. And of course, with a 3-back formation, not really comfortable with it. I thought I would have a tough time, and this guy has a great team, as you guys will see in a few seconds. Al-Kabir, Al-Sharawi, Coutinho, Fetfa, he has some of the top players. A great defense with Toprak. Toprak is, I believe, 77 pace. And I think that's Farman as the goalkeeper, very solid goalie. So he starts the scoring off there. Once again, really poor defending on my part. I think that's something I will have to improve if I plan on winning a few tournaments. So right here, we get our goal back. Maybe, do we? Well, I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but Castellanos gets a nice through ball. And I totally butchered the finish. Basically, I took a power touch. And it ends up right at his foot, and that is a very convenient finish. Very lucky on our part. I thought he got a little unlucky there. But he does get one back. 70th minute, Volshed with the header. Misses it, and it just conveniently comes right back to him. Of course, I probably should have done a better job using that player inside the net to clear the ball. But this was complete bullshit, guys. The second this happened, I knew he would score. I was frantically tapping X. I wanted to clear the ball. But it goes off my chest. I have no idea how to stop that. Really annoying goal to concede because you could have prevented it if it didn't go off his chest. And at this point, I kind of gave up. It wasn't really me playing good defense, and that's why I lost. But I'm not taking any credit away from this guy. We do, in fact, get a consolation goal right here. Pass it back to Beretta. But I believe this guy played a lot better. And, it's kind of hard to admit when you lose to a better player, but I think this guy was the better player and a well-deserved win for him. So that is how the game ends. Another really disappointing tournament for us. So basically, guys, I was thinking of doing something. Last video, I believe it got over 150 likes. So if I can get 150 likes on every video, I will start doing daily. So if this video gets 150 likes, I will release the next episode the next day. So it's basically like an ultimatum just to see if you guys are watching the videos. If you are, that's great. That means you guys want more episodes, and that means I will be uploading more episodes. So guys, this is the end of the video. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed and have yourselves a wonderful day.